Shortly begin, or we'll begin now, with in blød indflyvning with our next speaker. This is Josef Tarrak.
Yes.
From Greenland, and he's going to talk about Greenland and its relation to Denmark and its relation to colonialism.
Yes. Yes. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
My name is Josef Tarrak. I am from Greenland. I'm born in Greenland, in South Greenland. So I am not an expert, but I have researched myself, and also because of experience. I'm a Greenlander, but also I'm half Moroccan, so it's very weird. Yeah, but yeah, Greenland. We have been a colony of Denmark, or we are kind of still a colony in our mindset, if I should say it this way. But we were colonized in or not really colonized, but the missionaries came in 1721, and it was Hans Egil. Maybe you have heard about him. He has a big dress, and yeah. So I didn't really prepare, because I know what I'm gonna say, or how do I say it from here. But yeah, it's a very weird relationship between Greenland and Denmark. It's like it's not even a relationship, if I should say it this way, because we are under the Danish government or rule, so we have the same queen, dronning. But yeah, it started in 1721. Hans Egil came to Greenland because he wanted to find the Norsemen, because they haven't been in contact since the 1400s. So he wanted to find the other Norsemen who were under the Norwegian government, or the king. But he didn't find them, but he found something else, and it was heathen savages, Inuit. Or if you don't know, like back then they used the word Eskimos. But yeah, I've only need 4 towns in Greenland, so it means that I've been all over Greenland. So I've seen the air base, the American air base in Greenland, and I've been way up north and way south and behind and front and everywhere in Greenland. So I'm an expert, but not being an expert. But yeah, I can start with that. When I grew up in Greenland, I felt normal, if I should say it that way, because I didn't see so much difference between people. But when I finally understood that I was different was when I came to Denmark. I found out that I was different. I had a different ethnicity, and that I am something else, if you know the phrase, something else. But yeah, that's where I realized I was something different. Then I started researching what the situation was in Greenland, of how the relationship between Greenlanders and Danes were. Then I found out that we had stereotypes and many different stuff, and suddenly went into a rabbit hole where I am now. But yeah, I started to I started to embrace my ethnicity, because it was taken, or it was forbidden to be what I am today, if I should say it this way. It's illegal for me to have face tattoos in Denmark, so. But the meanings are, my face tattoo is that taking my face back. Because when I grew up in Greenland, everything was very Westly influence, but then, how do you say it? It was very...
Western influence?
Yeah, Western influence. So everything we saw, everything we wanted to be was like the American dream, but the Greenlandic dream was to be like a Dane, because the Danes had the highest jobs, and the Danes had 2 cars, a very big house, and it was like, if I want to make it as a Greenlander, I have to be Danish. So it was the mindset for me, but I didn't know it back then. It was like, no, if I want to be something, I have to learn Danish, and it's like I can speak fluently Danish, but but yeah. So I suddenly researched my own culture and what happened. And like when Greenland was colonized, it was like we had Dornet, which is helping spirit. It was for the shamans, the witch doctors, or how you ever call it. We call them angakut. They had helping spirits, but the Christian religion didn't like our heathen ways, so they translated some of the helping spirit, which was good in the Bible, to being a demon. So do you understand me? How they switch the meaning to something very bad back then was very good. Now it's in bandeord, or it's a swear word now. Dong na suk, bad. Like if I heard, I can say dong na suk. It means almost shit. So yeah, kind of. Yeah, but back to the tattoos. But I got my tattoos because of also for myself, but also to taking my face back. Because I suddenly realized I don't have to be Danish to be successful. I don't have to be Danish to be happy or to have a house and 2 cars. Yeah, but I can be my own ethnicity, my culture, embracing who I am and my forefathers were, and taking it back on my face. So it's kind of like also rebellious, but also the meaning of them are also very good with the time today, because these ones, it means protection from bad spirits, and also ending the social heritage. Yeah, social heritage. Like it could be sickness, or also like my mom is an alcoholic, so it's like breaking the problem with me. I'm not going to be an alcoholic. So this means that, and on my nose it looks like a little bridge. But this means to be close to the spirit world, but also to be able to communicate to everybody. That I can be amongst very different spirits. So it's like I've worked with children homes, and I've also worked in a prison for a week for something else, but also homeless people in Greenland. But I felt that it was something that I could speak with everybody. Does it make sense? Yeah. Okay. It's fun. Let me think. I'm a little bit, how do you call it? Spent or nervous. Yeah, nervous. Yeah. But yeah, we were colonized back then, and then imagine you living. It somehow connects to what happens now and the situation in Greenland. But yeah, imagine you living in a small community where you make yourself, where you make your living by hunting and fishing in a small community, and then suddenly you had to move to Nuuk, the capital of Nuuk, the capital of Greenland, Nuuk. And there's factories and many factories and apartment buildings, and everything changed only for a couple of years. It was because we became amt, or a country. We became a part of Denmark, so it meant we were people, finally. Woo! But 1 week before, the Americans were supposed to come to Greenland. So the Danish government very fast, moved the people who lived in Qaanaaq or Pituffik up there at the military base, because we weren't people, we were a colony. So they fastly changed the people. They how do you call it? Throw them out from where they lived and put them in another settlement in the winter, and it becomes -60 in the winter. So it was like before we were amped. But when we became a country of Denmark, we became, I'm a Danish citizen. What? But yeah, but it's so difficult doing it in English. Yeah. But hopefully you can understand it. But yeah, we became Amt, a country of Denmark. And it links with the situation we have now because of the colonization and because of Denmark invested a lot of money in fishing factories and buildings and changed the whole life of the Greenlanders. So many different problems arose from that. Suicide, rape, STDs, alcohol abuse, drug abuse, that connects the problems that we have today in Greenland, many of them. We have the largest numbers of suicide per capita in Greenland, and the problems arose because we were colonized. But it's not only that, because now the relationship between Greenland and Denmark is very weird, because we have been colonized since, or we have been with Denmark for 300 years now, this year. So it's very mixed feelings between Greenland and Denmark, because we have a lot of half Greenlandic, half Danish people. So when we try to do something, it's very different, because yeah, the families are from Denmark. And I've also said I have a little Danish in me now. Because it's not like because we want to have independence, but it's not like we want to break the relationship with Denmark. But it's a very weird relationship. Yeah, I usually do this when people ask and something about, like, have a conversation. So it's very like I have to do the speaking. Yeah, but yeah, it's fun.
Should we try? So if people like to answer.
Yeah, let's do that. Yes.
Yeah. So just say and speak what we do then.
Yes, he said that I want this to be more of a conversation, so you can ask stuff about Greenland. But yeah, if you want to.
During the presentation.
During the interrupt me when I speak. Yeah. But yeah, we became Amt in Greenland. Now we are.
And an Amt is I understand, a municipality?
Yeah, kind of
like a
municipality. Region. Yeah.
Region.
So Denmark could be a very Arctic stormagt, or how do you, big power in the Arctic. Yeah, but what was I? Yeah, we play Amt. Yeah, it's so municipality in Greenland, and then stereotypes came here in Denmark. Because maybe there are 16,000 Greenlandic people in Denmark, but only maybe a couple, maybe 500. That's the people you see. It's them that's in the station, in the bus stops, drinking, and the only view of Danish people of Greenlanders are the alcoholics. So it becomes a stereotype that all the Greenlanders have to go through. For example, for me, when I went here for school, efterskole.
Boarding school.
Boarding school.
You can call it.
Yeah, boarding school. I didn't have a identity because my name was Greenlander. Imagine you living, like, you going to school with your age group, and then you only be called Dansker. Dansker, come here, Dansker, come. And in the end, you feel like nobody. You feel like shit. And I remember when I was going to the bus, there was like 3 Danish guys in front of me, and there was a Greenlander drunk, screaming. I was like, I could hear them. And they said, what is that? That's the Greenlandic gene, like the Greenlandic DNA. So imagine, like, for me, I was like 14. I felt like nothing. I felt like shit. I slowly began to think that I was an alcoholic, but I wasn't. I was only 14, so it was weird. So it's very ignorance is very big in Denmark, and it's weird. We have a relationship, rigsfællesskab, and there's no relationship, because I know all about the Danish community. I know about H.C. Andersen, Kim Larsen, rødgrød med fløde, many things about the Danish community. But if I ask the Danish side, they always ask me about, do you have polar bears as pets? Yeah. Why do you have clothes on? Why don't you wear skin? So it's like very ignorant, unknowing questions, and it's unknowingness. It's like ignorance, but it gets hard because you have to answer the question every day. But you're in a country where you have been in a relationship for 300 years. Yes.
Like in response to that, I was also thinking about like the statues from Christianshavn Metro. What do you think about them? I was often wondering. Like,
is it a statue about Hans Egel? I think.
Yeah, I never really looked into who they represent, but I always thought that the representation was a little bit.
I don't think the ones like Christianshavn.
Yeah, Metro.
Yeah.
With the statues, for 1 year ago, almost 1 year ago, I think the statue we have in the capital, Hans Egel, who came and colonized, and he was a missionary and taught us the religion. He made us Christian. But after a period of time, there was a statue built in the capital, up in a mountain of him. So it's kind of like a very metaphoric kind of Danes up here and the Greenlanders are down here. So, but it was painted with red, and there were markings under it, and with traditional Greenlandic tattoos. And on the side there was a text with said decolonization. And someone did it also here. I think they painted the statue of Hans Egel with yellow, I think. But it's like in the media, it's more like it's vandalism. Just young people doing it for fun. In the media, in the Greenlandic news podcast, and everywhere it was like, it's just vandalism. But if you see there's like meanings behind it, people are starting to change because of also the Black Lives movement in the world. It came also to Greenland, but it's also very mixed relationship between the statue, because in other countries we see videos of the statues getting teared apart or broken, but in Greenland it's like very religious. Greenland has a Stockholm syndrome, if I should say it this way. Yeah, because Denmark gives us bloktilskud, 3 milliarder billions, 3 billions, but you have to also look at they get funds from FN, because they have the Americans are in Greenland, so they get a very big check. I heard tilbud.
Contribution?
Yeah, contribution. Yeah, and the biggest hellefisk, a fish, hellefisk, the biggest distributor of hellefisk in the world is Denmark. But the species of the fish doesn't exist in Denmark. It's from Greenland, and that's how it works. We catch the fish, we send it to Denmark. They sell it for like 4 times more. So it has been since back then, like in 1856, the Americans were in Greenland for excavating craolite for many years, and it have been very, attractive to those shitheads. Yeah. Yes.
I just wanted to ask, because you talked about the ignorance that you met when you came to Denmark after school, and I was thinking that a lot of Danish people also go to Greenland to work. In many different ways. So I was thinking maybe you could talk a bit about maybe your experiences with that in Greenland.
Yeah, it's like we have a lot of Danish people in Greenland, in Nuuk especially. Like if you are Danish and you go to Nuuk, it's like little Denmark. It's like everything is translated with 2 languages, the Greenlandic one and the Danish one. Everything is served in a silver platter for the Danes to come to Greenland, because we don't have the resources, many of them like social workers or doctors. But it's also very shitty because many of the doctors or workers that come to Greenland are very new because they don't have enough stuff on their CV to apply here for the dream job in Denmark. So they get taken in Greenland and they stay for maybe 2 months and they leave. So it's like, when I went here, it was like, the Danish people have their own doctor. So I was like, what, do you have your own? I have to call my doctor, I have to write, you have, like, we don't have that in Greenland. It's like, the doctor changes every 2 months. So it's very difficult for many, the healthcare system in Greenland is very fucked. But also how the relationship is, because many Danes are in Greenland, but we are very multicultural in Greenland. We have many ethnicities, countries in Greenland, but they all live in their separate bubble. For example, if I can say, the bar in Nuuk called Daddy's. From 5, all the Danish come and they drink, and then maybe at 9 they go out and all the Greenlanders get in. And that's real. It's not like systemic, but it's like they live in their own bubble. So it's like, I can also, and not only with Danish people. So it's like very segregated, but not in that sense. Some places, like in East Greenland, the teachers, the Danish and the Greenlandic teachers eat separately. So it's very, because the East Greenland was colonized 50 years after the West Greenland was colonized, 50 years after the East Greenland was colonized. So the things in East Greenland are very weird because you can feel the racism and how the doctors treat the locals, the natives, and it's very, the Danes gain more in Greenland than the Greenlanders, if I should say it that way. So, but maybe to change that, it's that many politicians do that they need more money, so they would stay more in Greenland. But you can also, like, if you imagine, when I travel, I like to speak with many people as possible, because it gains knowledge, but also more because you get a connection to the country, and you want to stay more because you have friends, you have like connection in the country. But in Greenland, the Danish people, they don't have connection because their friends are Danish people who are gonna leave in 2 months too. So maybe if we could be more integrate more, then it would help. Yes?
Is there any organization that work with the decolonization of Greenland?
Yes, there's organization about decolonization. That rhymed, huh? But yeah, we are a very polite people. Only a couple of years ago, if you walk past me, I have to take my hat off. We are not, the people of Greenland are not that aggressive, or it's in our genes that we are very polite. Like when we were colonized, if a Dane was lost, the Greenlandic people took in the Dane, and they didn't want him to die, and we helped the Danes when they colonized Greenland. They had skørpu. It's like a disease when you don't eat enough vegetables, then your teeth fell out and you become skinny and die. But yeah, half of the Danish colonizers that came to Greenland died of that, but they found out that the Greenlandic people could help them. So every time someone was sick, they sent them to the Greenlanders, because we had the flowers on the water. Seaweed, yeah, we had seaweed, we had berries and many different stuff, so we helped them. So it's in our genes that we are very polite, but not that rebellious. But it's changing now because of the communication between you guys and other people, other indigenous people in other countries who are going through the same of decolonization and changing their mind, the view, and yeah, it's like the situation in Greenland is so like we are so colonized. Yeah, it's so weird to say about but that if I go to the doctor and it's a Danish doctor in Greenland, the doctor will say, "Do you need a translator?" But we are slowly changing that. No, it's you that needs a translator. You're in Greenland. Yeah, so, yeah. So, yes.
But how do you organize in Denmark? Like, where do you meet, or how is it?
Yeah, it's not that like it's more than I don't usually like I'm not a part of an organization. Maybe I should say what I am, but sorry, I'm a musician, rapper. I'm a rapper. I rap in Greenlandic. I'm gonna play it tonight. But I also speak a lot about problems in Greenland and the relationship between Greenland and Denmark. But it's like my friend group or who I hang out with are the people who speaks about it. But there are also organization that works on it. But we also help with their platforms and many different stuff. But we don't have like really, because we don't have a real teamwork in Greenland. There's a lot of stuff about the same topic, but they do it in their own. So it's not that much teamwork, but supporting each other. Yes. Yeah.
Now you have problems with Denmark, but now we have a big brother called the USA.
Yes.
And I think they are moving in. Well, he has been there for several years.
No, hundreds.
At the Thule base, but
Yeah.
now I think he have established a consulate there, and he's moving in different ways. What do you think will happen? Are you happy about to have a bigger brother, or change, or what is your feeling about this?
The feeling about that, it's very. I've been there 2 times. I applied a visa to my own country, so it's weird because it's mixed with American law and Danish law and Greenlandic law mixed to one. So, but the Americans, it's like it's a joke. They want to buy Greenland, and many like the feeling we get in Greenland, like about the Americans. Of course, there's new stuff coming. They have started embassy in Greenland, but it's like it doesn't affect us that much. But of course, like Thule base, back then it was all the catering and many different stuff in Thule base were from the Americans and the Danish. But now we are starting to take over with a Greenlandic company and Greenlandic workforce, sending them to Thule Air Base. So that's good. But it's also like they came here and fucked it up, and they like every Christmas they give gifts, if you know what I mean. They want to be loved, but we know that they're fake smiling, or how do I say it? So, but the Americans, we don't have that much communication because it's more between Denmark and America. So she was first, and I'll get to you. Yes.
I would have asked the same if you had kind of organization or if you were a part of some, but you answered.
Yeah.
Then I noticed that you started with your tattoo and your face.
Yeah.
And maybe I thought, maybe, I don't know anything, so maybe I thought maybe, the question is it a trend among the young person or people, or to it's about identity or more spiritual. I thought you said something
yeah,
there.
I think
It's a kind of identity.
about like I am in a iceberg falling, and very metaphoric, in Sume, a very big Greenlandic band, a revolutionary band, but now it's more direct. I can feel that it's not much more metaphoric, but now we can say stuff. I remember when it all started, it was like, how do you feel about Danish people? Like, the situation? I don't know. It was very much like that. But now we are not afraid to speak about it in front of Danish people. So we are gaining more intelligence, also because our history. For a couple of months ago, suddenly the missing puzzles of the Greenlandic history came from a book, Imperiet Spærn. You should read it. It's about how the Danish government manipulated the Greenlandic and also FN to still have Greenland as a selvstyre or amt. Yeah, so it's very interesting, and now the history are coming. Like I don't learn about the colonial age in my school. I only learn about like H.C. Andersen, and yeah.
But I think it's so important. It will not only be the Danish masters to come and steal your identity,
Yeah.
your resources.
Yeah.
Any capitalistic or imperialistic master will do exactly the same. So it has to be a political thing.
Yeah.
It's not about Danes. It will also be about anybody else who comes with a lot of
Yeah.
power and money and things behind them. So that's it's something about developing the political resistance against capitalism.
Yeah, it's like what I said. Like it's like we are too polite. So yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And smooth profit.
Yeah.
Of that.
Who was I can't keep. I think you were first. Yeah.
Well, it was just, you already said something about it actually, but it was just in this process of decolonizing mind. I hear you mention Sume and Imperiet Spærn and stuff, but I was just thinking if like there were specific meetings with people or things you read or saw that you thought made like a really big impact on you in this process.
Yeah, meetings that impact me. If I
Something like, well, I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah.
But like if like if, to me, it sounds like you're describing also like a personal process of like decolonizing your mind. And
Yes.
maybe I just thought if during your life, maybe if you had like some specific, people you met or perspectives you were presented or things you read or something that you thought it was like extra important.
Yeah, maybe it was very, very eye-opening and important when I started learning about my history in Greenland. It was for me very interesting how the epidemic, how do you say it? Smallpox. Yes, the smallpox epidemic. What happened back then? Because there was a Danish general, or how do you say it, in Greenland. The funds for colonizing Greenland in 1731 was abandoned because the old king had died, and the new king decreed Greenland that it should be abandoned. But that guy, he wanted to have his servants back to Denmark because he liked the Greenlanders that were serving him. So he took them here in Denmark, and there were 4, I think. Two of the Greenlanders died. Then in 1733, the new king changed his mind about Greenland. He wanted to continue colonizing Greenland. Then he went back, but the servants, they got smallpox. and when they came to Greenland, yeah, and many people spread the disease of smallpox, and back then you didn't know what to do, and the Greenlanders with their religions back then, so they fled, and it spread all over Greenland. Half of the population of Greenland died, the Greenlanders. There were stories, and there was a small village with 10 families. Hans Egil used to go there and go missionary and talk about Christianity and many different stuff. They went there and all the families were dead. So the stories of how there was a young boy who was dying of smallpox, and he had a father who was a great hunter. The last thing he said was, I saw my aunt outside giving me a curse. After right before he died, then the hunter killed the aunt and threw her. There's very weird stories back then, and Hans Egil didn't do anything because where he lived, everybody was dying also. So I started thinking of, if we are 56,000 people right now, so in the 1800s we were about 5,000 Greenlanders. The half died, so we could have been 10,000 in the 10,000 people in the 1800s. So it could have meant we could have been 100,000 people today or more. So it's like, wow. And also, but also that changed me also was that I tried to speak only Greenlandic in Nuuk, and it was difficult because there's like, it's like everybody speaks Danish, and they, how do you say it? When I go to the store, like they will speak Danish to me automatically, and if I spoke Greenlandic to them, they couldn't like answer me because many of them spoke Greenlandic. And I've also heard many stuff, like I've been told here in Denmark, if you were, maybe you know it, du er I Danmark, snak dansk. You are in Denmark, speak Danish. Yeah. Then I went to Greenland. Yeah. It's like, they don't even learn Greenlandic. There's Danish people in Nuuk and all over Greenland that have been in Greenland for 30 years, and they only know hi, yeah, nej, yeah, but yeah. So it's very eye-opening. Yeah, you were first, and yeah.
I just want to hear more about the cultural scene in Greenland right
Yeah.
now. Also, maybe related to like the language, like the Greenlandish language, and how much is produced in Greenlandish or in Danish, and like how is the music scene or the making of movies, and how is it?
The scene with creativity, if I should say it, in Greenland, it's gaining much more and more and more. Like we have like people from Hollywood coming to Greenland and making movies with the Greenlanders. So that's new. The film industry is gaining more and more, and it's good. And the music, because with music, there's 56,000 people. I'm a musician, and that's not enough streams. Like, you cannot live off it. And so we have to be one. There was one from England who said to me, "You are like a potato," and it's something bad in Denmark, like kartoffel. It's something bad here. You cannot say it to people. I don't really know the word kartoffel, but I was like, hey, what do you say? I think it's a bad word saying kartoffel. But he's not from Denmark, so it meant that we could be mashed potatoes, we could be French fries, we could be chips. So because we like the film industry, we don't have people for everything. So if I want to start a music video, all of my music videos, I've made them myself with lighting, with sound, and like 2 cameras. You have to do it yourself because we don't have enough people for that. So that's why he said, you're like potatoes. So, yeah, so we have to learn a lot, but we are also gaining more and learning more. The music industry is evolving really good, and I love it, and the film industry also. So it's good. But the language, yeah. It's like if you have met a Greenlander, an old Greenlander, when he speaks Danish, he's like hej mig derude og lege. When he speaks, the grammatical system is very different. I've suddenly realized that the Greenlandic language, it's like if you translate it directly, we speak like Yoda from Star Wars. Like if I say uanga napunga, it means I'm very happy. But if I directly translate it, uanga napunga, me much happy. So do you understand? It's like Yoda. So, and it's very the Greenlandic language has very, very big words like sila. Sila, it means the weather, but it also means sila suak. If you change the ending, it becomes universe. Sila kakpi, do you have consciousness? Consciousness, sila kamnok. So like small words can mean very much different things. So it's very difficult to rap in Greenlandic. And maybe you have heard it, the words are very long. And yeah, if I should answer it, yeah. There was a, I think you were first, yeah. Yeah, they got denied.
They got denied.
Yeah.
Recently?
Yeah.
Maybe you could just
There was they want to excavate uranium in South Greenland in Narsaq. But in Narsaq there are farms and many different stuff hunting, so people were against it, Uranamik, and then and the new government, EA, they said no. I don't know much about it, but I understand. Who was it? You? Yes? Yeah, you. Yeah. Wait, yeah, you.
I have a question about, I would say, protest movements and neocolonialism is something that I've been thinking about. So obviously Greenland and Denmark have these historical, very close ties. And one thing I think we can see is also how colonial states try out some tools, let's call it like social engineering, in their colonies, and then bring those tools back and suppress also minorities in their own countries. So to be a little bit more concrete, I've been thinking about it with the ghetto laws that we have now in Denmark. I want to tear down like big housing, complexes in Copenhagen and other parts of Denmark, and that are many similarities with what they're doing now, with how they, for example, closed bygder all around Greenland, kind of forced people to move to this big block P, is it?
Yes. Yeah.
Like a big percentage of the whole population, they're just forced to move.
Wasn't it 10%? I think.
Yeah, like it's insane.
Yeah.
I don't know. It would be my strong hypothesis in a way that because Denmark, like the state, already tried out that, they're kind of doing it also here in their own territory.
Yeah.
I mean, for example, here there's been protests organizing around that. I've been part of organizing Almin Rusland, it's called. And sometimes I'm just curious, like, yeah, how come we also like speak together, or like if among your friends and your like community, think about or talk about, like it would also be cool to reach out to these other protest movements, for example, in Denmark, and how we could work together and speak about those things.
Yeah, there are also many more having communication with many people here in Denmark. Also, like I know Akka Mark, my very good friend. She's from Nørrebro, I think, but she's a Greenlander, but she has a lot of connection. Yes. You?
Are you feeling secure that you are mentioning that you are colonized?
Huh?
And are you are you feel insecure that you are mentioning that you are colonized, they are colonized and Christianized?
Yeah.
What is your on your mind? How do you? What is your? What is your reaction about that?
Yeah. Of course,
Can I just say, sorry to interrupt the question, go on, but that will be the last question.
Okay.
Then we have to move on.
Yes. Yes. About that. Of course, I don't like it, if I could say it that way. But also, it's also a very different situation for Greenland. It was because many countries have been colonized, but the difference is in Greenland that our colonizers were 3,000 miles kilometer away. So, like in the 1800s, the Greenlanders were 5,000 people, and the Europeans, the colonizers, were a couple of hundred. So, if something happened with confrontation between the Greenlanders and the colonizers, it was like they didn't have a chance because the Greenlanders had guns and were skilled marksmen and hunters. So they couldn't exterminate us like in other countries. Like if we should look at other indigenous people in Nunavut, Nunavik, and Alaska and all the indigenous people, it wasn't like the same. But also they did it in a way where it wasn't violent, but it was more mentally, changing the meaning of a word to something else, and we forgot our culture and our heritage and many different stuff, and it's so deep. But of course, I'm also proud that I can be in Greenland and speak Greenlandic as an indigenous person in a land where we are the majority in Greenland, and we are in the one of those who are in front of other with people who are indigenous. We have school materials that are in Greenlandic. I can speak Greenlandic all over Greenland, of course, but some can't. But it's like if we should look at other indigenous people, we are in the front of it, and many of the other indigenous people look up to Greenland because we are a majority and we have something to say, or we can decide. So I'm proud of that. I can speak my language, and it's not dying, the language. We have slangs in Greenlandic, so it's like I'm proud, but also wanting to learn more my culture, my ethnicity. So it's kind of like a mixed feeling. Yes.
Yes, and with that, thank you very much, Josef.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you too, and thank you for the opportunity to come here, and thank you.